All right, so it is getting really, really bad out there for both new car dealers and we have the auto manufacturers. So check out this article that came out from Automotive News saying Nissan offers some U.S. dealers cash to take inventory in the 11th hour wholesale push. And what's happening is that Nissan is actually offering like $500 to $2,000 for every vehicle that's included in this program to take take each individual vehicle, and they're giving them like $500 to $2,000. But a lot of these dealers are actually turning this down. And why would they turn it down? This incentive package that Nissan's trying to roll out to them is because they have inventory that's already stacking up on their dealership. And what they're saying is that the amount that they're going to have to pay on their floor plan because of how long they know it's going to take to sell these vehicles, they're going to eat through this incentive money in just a few months. So there was one dealer that was saying that he was offered $30,000 to take an additional 45 units, and he turned it down. And he said, "Why would I take more cars and pay 7% interest on this flooring?" And he said he was going to chew through all that incentive money in the next 4 to 5 months, and that's what a lot of these dealers are posed with when they're getting these incentive packages from these manufacturers. Okay, yeah, the manufacturers can pad their pockets. They can pay them extra money to be able to take these vehicles, but on the back end, when they know that they're not going to be selling them in a timely manner, they know that they're going to end up paying so much money on their floor plans for not being able to sell these cars. So what a lot of people don't know is on these floor plans that dealers pay, they don't buy their inventory outright. They finance a lot of them, and even from the new car side to the used car dealer, it's all the same. When they get their inventory in, they finance it through a bank, and then as the vehicles sit there, they have to pay interest on it, and day after day after day, as they sit on their lot, they have to pay these flooring costs. And what is interesting about this market right now, what I get a lot of comments, a lot of questions from viewers saying, well, why don't they just lower the price a lot right now and go ahead and move their vehicles out because they know that they're going to pay that floor cost? Well, a lot of these general managers that are dealing with pricing these vehicles, well, there's really two problems, but the first one is that, yeah, they could go out there and say, okay, I'm going to just take a loss on all these vehicles, clear out all my lot, and go ahead and just dump all these cars that have been sitting too long. But they have to literally make the decision, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to lose a ton of money all in one just big swoop. And that's across all of their cars that they have. I mean, these franchise dealers, they can have 200, 300, 500 cars sitting on their lot, and they can choose on that one vehicle to, okay, we're lower by $10,000 and we'll sell it. But I can pay $500 and just kick the can down the road for this month and just pay my floor plan costs on all of these vehicles. And it's a much lower sum that they're actually going to have to pay to kick the can down the road to wait for this magical customer that hopefully is going to appear to them. And that's a big problem with these floor plans that a lot of these companies are having to deal with. A lot of these dealers are having to deal with. And in particular, we're seeing that Nissan is really scratching and digging to try to figure out what they need to do, because we know that last week they came out and said that, okay, if when you sell Murano, we're going to give you $1,000. So now they have an influx of cash going to dealers on the front end when they take the vehicle, and also when they're selling the vehicle, they're giving them extra cash. They're doing a lot, and I think it's a good thing from Nissan to be able to start doing this. It's not enough. It's not enough yet. And we've talked to a Nissan general manager recently, and he was saying that Nissan's not doing enough, but this is a good start. But really, you're going to see a lot of these manufacturers come out and do this because they have to get vehicles to dealers, and a lot of these dealers are turning them down. So what do they have to do to get vehicles for these franchise managers, for these franchise dealers to take these vehicles, they're going to have to give them cash. And what this cash allows them to do in this particular case for Nissan, it allows them to be more negotiable. It can be that they can take money right off the top if they've got customers that are coming in with negative equity. We know that right now most consumers are underwater about $6,000 on their vehicle, especially if they bought in the last 3 to 5 years. So what this $2,000 can help that Nissan's getting up front is that they can help that consumer pay down that note that they're underwater, to be able to roll the little bit of equity after they pay some of the money off into their next vehicle. And these are some of the levers that these manufacturers can pull, whether it be incentives, rebates, these special interest rates. But you're going to start seeing a lot more of this come from these manufacturers. And really, they're going to have to, and we're going to see. I think Ford's going to be a big one. Definitely Stellantis. We're seeing a lot of incentive spend there, and we're seeing a lot of dealers that have to mark down a lot of these Jeep, these Ram trucks. You can go and you can get 20% off a Stellantis vehicle right now, just because they are not moving them. And what these dealers need from the manufacturers is they need more of this to take place so they can actually sell some of these vehicles. And I can tell you right now it's still probably not going to be enough. And let's see here. I'm gonna pull this up because we're talking about Nissan real quick. Do the Nissan trucks still have motor problems? Now I know a lot of the older ones seem to, but I'm not sure about the new ones. And what if they have? Okay, here's the problem with Nissan. If you've got some of these vehicles that in the history, you've had some history of motor problems, you have the history of CVT transmissions not being great, you're going to pull consumers out of the market to want to buy your cars. We talk about this with Ford a lot too, quality concerns. If you have any of that in a market that we're in right now, and you're not making the vehicle low enough to make the consumer take it, then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to lose a lot of consumers, both on the dollar and cent side, and just from losing to a brand like Toyota, who's got a better name as far as your reputation with quality, how the vehicles are made. And it's getting really, really, really tough for these manufacturers right now. And we talk about this a lot where, okay, we have these manufacturers that have put up record profits quarter after quarter after quarter in the last year and a half. And I get the comments all the time. Well, how are they putting up these big quarters? And you're saying that these dealers are in trouble. No, these dealers have to be selling everything. Well, that's not really the case, because when these manufacturers, when they're making their money, is when they deliver these vehicles to the dealership. The dealership is their consumer. So as these dealerships continue to take these products, the manufacturers were still able to make money. But now is when you're going to see that flip, when you're having these like Nissan dealers that are turning away vehicles, even though Nissan's giving them thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to take these vehicles. They're still turning them down because they can't take them. They can't afford their floor plans, their floor plans that they're paying on them. This dealer said that currently on a monthly basis, he was paying $130,000 for his floor plan. That's insane. Even for a big franchise dealership, that is a ton of money to be spending monthly on the inventory that you have sitting there. And interest rates, they're not going down in a big clip anytime soon. So these floor plan costs, the interest rates that these dealerships have to pay, they're going to stay right where they are for the foreseeable future. And it's just a big setup for disaster for a lot of these dealerships. But just going back to where these manufacturers, they make their money is when they deliver these cars to the dealerships. And the problem is, when you're going to start seeing these manufacturers start to put in bad quarters is when the allocations are turned down. We're seeing allocations being turned down right now. Nissan, Stellantis is a biggie, real big. They've been turning in great profits, but now we're seeing reports from car dealership guys talking about Stellantis dealers reaching out to him saying, okay, we're talking to Stellantis. We're asking them, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to help us move metal? So, the Stellantis dealers are turning down their allocations right now. And then on top of them turning down allocations, not just Stellantis, but the big three, you see Nissan right now, on top of them turning down allocations, the manufacturers are having to spend more money to try to help these dealerships actually sell these vehicles. So, on one hand, you got vehicles that are going to stack up for the manufacturer and not be sold to the dealership. And then on the other hand, you're going to see them spending more money to get the dealerships to take the vehicles, and the vehicles that dealerships have right now, you're going to see the manufacturer spending more money to try to get them to sell them to consumers or help the consumer to get them into the car. And one big problem, I said it earlier, is the negative equity. And manufacturers, I believe, are going to step in and have to pay some of that negative equity out. It's not going to be just a direct one-to-one where they're going to say, okay, we're giving you this money to pay off some of the negative equity that you have the consumers coming in. What it's going to be is in the form of what Nissan's doing here, $2,000 on every vehicle or $1,000 when you sell a particular vehicle. And that's going to help offset some of the negative equity that's coming in. And as we've talked to a bunch of other dealers, negative equity is a big time problem right now in this market. And consumers, they traditionally have negative equity when they go into a new car and they're able to roll it. But the amount that they're bringing into the dealerships right now is so high that they really can't just roll it into the next vehicle. They have to come in with some cash now. And a lot of times, historically, they could come in with little to no money down, be able to roll their negative equity, and then get into the next payment. They can't do it right now. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these sales dry up, because there's consumers out there that still want to buy. They want to upgrade their car. They want to buy a new car. But they're not able to because the banks have tightened and because they have this negative equity that they have to do something about. And most Americans, they don't have $500 to their name for a rainy day. So if they're going in and trying to buy a car, they got to get creative. And the way that Nissan is trying to help with this is by giving some money up front and on the back end. So it gives the dealership a little wiggle room to move around some of this negative equity and to help them be more negotiable to try to get some of these cars into consumers' hands. And I think we've got some things coming in from the chat. My wife is here and looking at that. So what you got, baby?
Let's see. I've just been reading comments. It's some good stuff today. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Sorry, I wasn't ready. What is your correct source for finding the value of the vehicle I would be looking to purchase? Thank you.
I don't know that there's a correct source for finding a value. There's a few different things that you can use. Now, your area is going to be different. The car market is different in every section of the country. It's a car I like to use all the time, but for an example, but like a 2002 Toyota Camry with 175,000 miles here in North Carolina is going to be completely different than what it costs in California. So what you can use is you can use Kelley Blue Book to get you kind of a ballpark. But what I would prefer you do to get more of a real price of what vehicle you're looking at in your area is look and see what dealerships, individuals are actually selling the particular vehicle that you're looking for in your area. So if you can pull up 3 or 4 different listings, you can probably get a ballpark of what you should pay for a vehicle. Now, obviously, if you're looking at a dealership, especially if it's a Stellantis dealership, depending on what product you're looking at, a Nissan is what we're looking at now. They're having a hard time. If you look at the dealership posting, it's probably going to be substantially less than that you can actually get it for. So it's really tough to find an exact online medium, some kind of book or anything. All the books they're all wrong, especially right now in an environment where the market's very, very volatile. The books are going to be behind. So Kelley Blue Book, whatever you're using to try to get a gauge on the market, it's probably not going to give you the answer that you're probably looking for, but you can look around and see what a few different places are selling them for. If you're looking at a dealership, what I would like for you to do is find 3 dealerships that are selling the product that you're looking for, something close to it. Go to all of them. It's going to take some legwork. It's going to take some time. Go try to find the best price out of those 3 different dealerships. And then you can start your negotiation from there. You can even pit dealers against dealers. And when you do that, especially in a market right now when dealerships are having a harder time selling, you can have dealers fight over you. And that's going to be the best way to find the price that you're looking for. But it's obviously more difficult. And you're not going to be able to just go online and find the price for something right now, unfortunately, because the market's moving so quickly, and because you have dealerships that are not going to give you the true price online, and a lot of that's due to, especially if it's a new vehicle, they really can't, because they're handcuffed by a lot of these manufacturers as far as what they can sell vehicles for. I know that recently I've talked to a GM, and he said that he would even sell some stuff under invoice just to get it off his lot, to get it off his floor plan, but he can't advertise it for that because the manufacturer will only allow him to advertise it for invoice, and that's the lowest that he can advertise for. So if he wants to sell something for under invoice, then he's got to put manager special, clearance sale, whatever, but he can't actually put the price on it. So online is not going to be the best place for you to find a price. You're going to actually have to go to these dealerships, actually go inside and actually poke on these managers, these franchise managers, these sales managers. You got to go punch them a little bit to see what you can actually buy a car for. All right, we got something else.
Yeah, this is related to dealerships turning down allocation. Does that mean we will see slower profits as dealers refuse more inventory?
So you're going to see, yeah. I talked about this a little bit earlier. You're going to see your profits come down on the manufacturer side, and I mean, you're not going to have dealers really report. You've got some public dealers that are out there, and you already are seeing their profits, their revenues come down. But on the manufacturer side, that's when these allocations start to get turned down. The problem with these manufacturers, or what I worry for shareholders, is that all of these dealers, they get loaded up all in the same intervals. So that means they're probably going to be turning down allocations all in the same interval. That means allocations should all be turned off almost instantly, because the demand from one dealer should look similar to the demand at another dealer. So if they're all getting stacked up all at the same time, and they all turn down their allocations all at the same time, then a company like Ford, who needs to send out all of these trucks to all these different dealers, and all of a sudden the spigot just gets turned off, then they have nowhere to send these trucks. So that's what I worry for a lot of these shareholders of these companies, is that there's just going to be this light switch where Ford was like, yeah, we're doing great, we're pumping out all these trucks to these dealers, and then there's going to be a quarter where they just wake up and say, our dealers just said, no, we can't take them anymore, so we have to stop sending them. So that's why we didn't make very much money this past quarter. And I think there's going to be a quarter where this happens, whether it's going to be next quarter or the quarter after that, or it's going to wait till the fall, where the winter, the fall, when it gets really slow in the car market, where dealers are like, literally, Ford, I can't take any more truck. I don't care how much incentive money. I don't have anywhere to put. I'm going to have to buy another lot to start storing these trucks. And I feel like there's going to be one quarter where it just kind of snaps, and all these dealers are going to say the same thing all at once, and that's what I fear for a lot of these new car manufacturers. All right, what's up?
Question for our customers: do your customers have bad credit?
Yeah, so the niche that we're in, we sell cars that are $5,000 and under, and while I don't run any credit reports because we don't finance our vehicles, we're not hooked up with any outside lending, any banks or anything, to be able to try to get consumers in cars. If they are doing financing, they have to go get their own financing, and but most of them will pay cash. Now, when I say cash, it's not usually hard cash. They use a debit card. Some people use a credit card, which I would greatly advise against buying a used car with a credit card, because you're going to end up paying 25-30% interest, whatever the crazy amount that a lot of credit cards charge. But I got off topic. With saying all that, no, I don't know, but I have the assumption that most of my consumers, if they're at the point where they're needing to buy a $2,500-$3,500 car, then yeah, they probably have bad credit. But this is not something that I can know. But you can make assumptions based off what they're buying, the price range that are in. Now, there's going to be people out there that have great credit that come and buy cars from us. They just don't want to have a car payment. So they buy something they can afford, and they can afford to pay cash for a $4,000, a $5,000 car, and they buy that and then ride it until it blows up, and they come buy another $4,000, $5,000 car, and they just never have car payments. So there's going to be the situation where there's people that have money, that have good credit, that will only buy $4,000 cars. They exist, and we sell them cars. But I would say a majority of the customers that come through our doors that are buying the cars that we sell, they probably are on the lower spectrum of the credit score of what you would typically see in this country. But I want to thank everybody for being here. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hope you have a great